They say if you want to see someone's true face, give them power. So for the longest time now, we've had PC gaming, Nintendo off doing their own thing, but once upon a time, Nintendo were actually a direct competitor of Sega, and they were the two powerhouses in the console market. Then that all fell down, Nintendo went off and did their own thing, and then it became Sony and Microsoft with their PlayStation and Xbox. For years now, Xbox and PlayStation have been duking it out, but it's obvious in the last couple of years that Xbox were floundering and losing this fight. PlayStation have had a really big success with a lot of their first party titles like God of War, Last of Us, Spider-Man, and so on. And there's no denying it, these are some of my favourite modern day games. But now, in a new position of power, it seems like Sony are now showing us what they really want to do with their money. And recently we had the news that PlayStation were removing their support for PC gaming, and I was absolutely gutted about this because obviously I'm primarily a PC gamer. Now I do buy games on my PS5 and PS4, and I've actually owned every single PlayStation right back to the PS1. I remember playing games like Resident Evil on my old TV in my bedroom, and games like Final Fantasy VII, just really good memories. And right up until the PS3 and PS4 era, I considered PlayStation to be for me, the quintessential purchase in the console space. So why am I making this video? Well, obviously the news this week has come out that Sony are now officially cancelling their support for physical media. As of 2028, the physical discs that they produce games on will no longer be a thing, and that's for third party and first party. Across the board, physical games are disappearing on PlayStation. I remember thinking a few years ago that when Sony was starting to become more dominant in the console space, I thought to myself, are they going to use that power and position to elevate themselves and also support gamers? Or are they going to become selfish and start doing things like raising prices and making the PSN subscription higher? But I never foresaw they would start removing support from PC games. And I never thought they would start removing the support for physical media this early on, especially because the last generation does still have a disk drive. So when Sony started bringing out their first party games on PC, I was absolutely over the moon. I've been after them doing this for years, and it went almost exactly as I was hoping. The games came out and most of them were really good ports thanks to Nexus. And yeah, you could play these amazing games like Horizon and The Last of Us in high definition, really good frame rates, and the games just felt good to play in the best possible version. And so when they removed the support for PC, I was absolutely gutted. I was like, what are you doing? This is terrible. But like I've said, in this new position of power, now Sony don't feel like they need the support of PC gamers anymore. But by taking away PC gamers' ability to play their games, they're taking away options from people, aren't they? Like, I do have a PS5, I can buy all their games on PlayStation. But if I wanted to choose between playing Horizon on PC and on PlayStation, every time I would play it on PC because it just looks and plays so much better on PC. And they know that. But this is the problem with exclusivity. They're taking away my option to shore up their own position. It's not supporting the fans, it's supporting their own company. And yeah, capitalism, I get it. Like, that's a good thing to do for their own company. But it makes an absolute mockery of their tagline, doesn't it? Play has no limits. Well, it kind of does now, doesn't it, Sony? Now, as a PC gamer, you might turn around to me and say, well, what's your problem with this? Like, obviously, your platform went digital a long time ago. And yeah, you'd be right, it did. I think for PC gaming, it was a good thing. I think PC gaming needed to go digital. I mean, if you're old enough to remember, you would go into a shop and you'd have like Sega and Nintendo down both sides of the shop, maybe a few other platforms down there, and then right in the bottom, in the back of the shop, in a dusty little corner, you get maybe one or two stands for PC, and all the boxes of different sizes, and it just wasn't a good situation to buy PC games in. And yet people did because they wanted PC games, but yeah, I think Valve did something that was really important for PC gaming. It regulated it, and it made it far more accessible. And so you might say, well, what's the difference between that and PlayStation? And I think for PC, it's also the fact you can actually open a store yourself. So EA, Ubisoft, Epic Games, they can all open their own store on PC. No one person owns the platform. It's much more open. It's not a walled garden like PlayStation is. Now, sometimes you'll see a company doing things and you think, like, how did nobody see how bad this looks? Well, in the same week they've announced they're going to kill off physical media on their platform, Sony have also removed over 500 films from the service. These are films that people have actually bought, like full price, to buy and watch whenever they wanted. And Sony have just up and removed 550 films from people's digital libraries. No refunds, no apology, just gone. Now, I believe this is due to the license expiring with the studio canal, and so Sony can no longer hold these films on their system. But it just goes to show how vulnerable a digital only media collection is. These companies, they make you sign and click on a terms and service agreement before you actually use the media. And we've all done it. We all click it. We've just bought a game. We want to get back home, get playing, and a big wall of text appears for a game you've been waiting for 6 years. Most people, in fact, pretty much all people, just click, yep, whatever. Now, as humans, we always go through this process of, well, I've done this before, nothing bad happened last time, so I'm just going to do it this time. And it's an understandable way of dealing with things, but unfortunately, as we're heading into a purely digital frontier of games and media and films, people are going to have to start being a lot more aware of their rights and what they're actually signing up to.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
So to say there's been a massive backlash against Sony over this news is a little bit of an understatement. Even Domino's Pizza have waded in talking about their new digital only pizzas, like really hammering it to Sony. And yeah, they deserve it over this. This is an absolutely terrible move by Sony. But as I saw in a Young Ye video, a lot of this timing is actually very curious because Sony's financial year finishes next month. And so the idea is that they're going to get all of this backlash, like people unsubscribing from PSN and, talking about selling their PS5s and all the rest of it. Get all of this damage for the thing they want, all contained. And then next month, new financial year starts and all of this just goes away. So as you know, primarily I am a PC gamer, but we do own a PS5, I have a PS4 in storage, we've got a Switch. So consoles have been a big part of my life, and yeah, I could turn around and say, well, I'm okay because I'm on PC, but I do feel really bad for console gamers on this front because a lot of them, they have these massive, great big physical media libraries, and it's something they've been working on their entire life. They've got games going right back through the decades, and it's something they're proud of and something they put a lot of work into. And so I don't actually think that Sony realized just how much of a gut punch this is for these people that collect games in physical form. And then, of course, you've got the actual preservation of physical media as well, because as we've seen many times, Ubisoft and other companies, they've just removed games completely from their service, never to be seen again. Whereas when people have a physical copy in their hand, they can put it in their basement or put it in their drawer, and it's there forever, unless obviously their house burns down. But for 99% of the time, a physical media collection is there forever. Unfortunately, despite the backlash, I do think this is going to happen. Obviously, Sony have already started retooling their factories that make discs into other products. And so I think this is definitely on the cards, and no amount of backlash is going to reverse this, unfortunately. As consumers and customers of Sony, what can we do to get a bit more control back in our own hands? And for me personally, I'm just not going to support Sony anymore as much as I can. I am going to get GTA 6. I've been waiting for that game for too long to not get that game, so I have decided to get GTA 6. And I think if they release another Last of Us game, I would just have to get that game. I can't not finish that series. But this year I was planning on playing Wolverine. That's now off the cards. I'm not buying Wolverine. There are a few other games like Astrobot I'm definitely going to buy. I'm not going to buy them now. I'm just going to scale back my support for Sony. So if, let's say, if everyone copies what I'm doing and just says, you know what, unless I absolutely have to get a game, I'm just going to not support Sony anymore now, and maybe even sell their PS5 and their PS4. I do think this is going to be a big backlash for Sony, and I think the financial loss will be shown in years to come, and I do think they will regret this heavily. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against digital only games. I mean, they have their place, and for some people, they are definitely a good choice. As a disabled gamer myself, there have been times when I've not been able to walk, and a PlayStation game came out, I think it was Ghost of Tsushima, and I could just download it on the PSN and not have to get to the shop, which wasn't an option at the time for me. I think gaming in general at the moment is definitely under a lot of pressure in different ways, and there aren't that many good stories. We've got loads of layoffs across the board. VR, which is something I personally really enjoy, is definitely floundering. We've got a situation now where Xbox is definitely looking like it's on the way out, and if it's not, they are definitely going scorched earth with that platform, so that's a real shame. And obviously, the RAM apocalypse is affecting a lots of different platforms, especially PC gaming, because a lot of our hardware now is becoming so damn expensive. So yeah, in it's a weird thing, isn't it? Like it's been such a good year in terms of games, but underneath the mechanics and the tectonic plates of gaming are definitely shifting, and not in a good way. So I think we've got a couple of years now where things are going to be a bit up and down. I do think we'll get through it. Gaming will always endure, but yeah, for now, I'm just going to sign off there, guys. That's everything I want to say about the situation. I hope you're all well, and thanks for watching the video to the end. If you did, please subscribe, and yeah, let me know what you think about the physical media side of things disappearing. Is it something that's going to be eventually inevitable, or do you think there could always be a place for physical media in the future? Let me know. Alright guys, take care. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.